You hear that sound, Mr. Anderson? That's the sound of rain on the roof because it's the middle of winter now and it's freezing. Ooh, thanks Raceworks. Beanie.
HoonTV!
That was my stupid intro. You're probably getting used to them by now. And also, we hit 60,000 subscribers. So, big thanks to everyone who's subscribed and been so supportive. So, yeah. Sorry this is so extreme close-up too. I've just added the stabilizer thing. So, it's now it looks like that. So, anyway, I'm going to give you an update on what's happening on the ute and just go through some of the stuff that's coming up. I tend to do that a lot, dude. That and I don't know. It's just boxerisms, but yeah, just got my dummy engine in here for those people who watched the last video about the ute, and it was so funny because I just like Top Fuel at Heathcote, other places like that, people going, oh man, that's so cool, you're putting a gas motor in the thing. I'm like, you didn't watch the end of the video, did you? Because it was an April Fool's prank. So yes, I am not going to try and run an 8-second quarter mile with a gas motor. It would be funny to try, but yeah, that's just a dummy engine. So I do have a new engine in the pipeline. I haven't exactly worked out what it's going to be yet, but big thanks to Anth over at Horsepower Junkie in Melbourne. We've been chatting for ages now and just coming up with plans for what we're going to do. The good thing is he owns a full machine shop, so everything gets done in-house there. So when we do come time to build the engine, I'm actually going to go over there and build it with him, which is going to be cool. He actually said to me, he goes, well, I'm not building it, you're going to be building it. So it will be obviously under his strict supervision because he's the guru and I'm just some schmuck. So yeah, really looking forward to that because he's an awesome guy and he's super passionate about building good engines. So that's the whole plan for this car, is to just, you know, work with super passionate people. And as you would have seen just recently, I went and visited Mitch from Mackylek. I was going to go visit Anth, but unfortunately he had a sick family member, so he couldn't be there that day. But Mitch also super passionate dude, very keen with all the wiring and stuff like that. So looking forward to that. So I'm going to spin the camera around as I always do, and I'm going to show you what's going on and write my little list. So here's the thing with this engine, it is just a dummy engine and it is a green top. No, it's actually not. The engine that you would have seen before was a green top engine, or it may be a turbo engine, I'm not really sure, because it did have a turbo sump on it and looked like a genuine sealant around the sump, but who knows these days with Barras, they're, you know, getting on. But this one here, you can't quite see it, but it has had a rod go south through the block there, and there's cracks in the block and all sorts of stuff. But as a dummy engine, it's worked out really nice. And yeah, I did smartly take the crankshaft out, and I have a whole box of broken parts here because basically as a dummy engine, sort of bringing the engine in and out of the car a heap of times, crankshaft weighs a ton. So I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna, I did the same thing with the Nicky Hayden bike too. The engine in that's got no crank and it's just super light, so I can pick it up easily. I mean, a Barra probably still needs to be picked up by an engine crane. I'm not that strong, but yeah, it is much easier now. And here's what's happening, and this is the whole difference. Some people are for and against this idea, but it's my car and I'm doing it, and everyone I speak to thinks it's a great idea. Previously, that sounds like a TV series, the front of the crank, so the front pulley sat all the way up here. So that lip there was like literally, so this lip on the front of the sump, which was a BA sump, was kind of almost touching that, but obviously clearance. So the front pulley was here. So now we've got this, and I've done absolutely no cutting to make that happen. So when I built this car originally, I cut out the whole firewall just because that's what I wanted to do, and I shifted the firewall back. So the original firewall was here, and now it's all the way back here. And what that meant was I tapered it in as well, and it did have like a puke tank in the back, like an oil catch can, which is over here behind this bottle of diff oil, and that fit nicely in there and sort of made the firewall flat again. So I've taken that out now just for having a look around, and basically it's meant that I could move the engine all the way back here, and from a center of gravity point of view, the middle of the engine here used to sit pretty much between the two struts, which meant that there was that much of the engine in front of the front axle. And for anyone who knows anything, I'm no guru, but looking at corner weights and stuff like that, it meant that sort of pretty much half of the engine was in front of the front axle. So now, with it sitting here, this is all just dummied up. It's literally sitting on a milk crate there underneath, nice red one, and sitting on a block of wood. So yeah, it's definitely not mounted in there, but this is dummied up, nothing's touching. There's probably a couple of little changes need to be done underneath, just with the old sort of flanges off the body there for the original trans cross member, but pretty much got the front axle line or strut tower line sitting almost bang in between 1 and 2, maybe even closer than number 1 cylinder. So it means that much of the engine is now sitting behind the front axle, which means that much more weight is between the axles, not over the front axle. So my theory is that it's going to add more weight to the back of the car. Some people tend to think that it's going to want to wheel stand more, but on the corner weights this car was front heavy. So I think it's going to correct a bit of that, and it's actually going to make the thing hook up really well. So the other thing is too, and thanks to my old mate Beano, Jason Bean, you know him from commentating at several million events. He is now the boss up at Bosky Motorsport. Managed to get this QuickTime bell housing here. Now this is a Holley QuickTime bell housing which goes to the reed case, and basically I've got that in there and it sits in there absolutely beautifully. So what I've done too is, it's hard to see in there, it's a bit dark, but I have some 6mm spacers in that gap, and the reason I'm doing that is because we're going to run an engine plate at the back of the engine there, and just sort of got it roughly sitting where it needs to be at the moment. It may come forwards or backwards, I'm not sure, but won't be by much. So engine plate and engine plate in the front, which will just come down sort of off the front cross member or chassis or something, I'm not sure yet, but yeah, that is the plan, and it's going to be going to the workshop. I'm going to have some very good hands helping me to get this all mounted and set up. I also have, and you would have seen before, it had a water-to-air intercooler in it, which sat up on that box that I'd made up in the firewall there. That's since gone. I forced myself to sell it so that I couldn't put it back in the car, because I just wanted to go a different direction with the car. So now I have, and as you would have seen, this here, which is my cardboard intercooler. I have the Plasma Man cooler coming, and the plan for this now is, you know, a lot of cars will do like tube fronts and so forth, and as you can see I've got like the fully removable radiator support panel, which I did. But the plan now is, instead of having like a big front mount with like big crazy intercooler pipes that go all the way out the front and through there, I mean it's necessary on a lot of road cars, so it's not sort of crazy, but what it means now is that with all that room between, like effectively this ribs here is where the radiator sat, it means now I'm going to sit the intercooler in where the radiator is, and this is all in theory as well. I haven't started anything yet, but this is my theory and I'm hoping to stick with it. Is that my intercooler, the non-cardboard one that's coming from Plasma Man, will sit where the radiator was, and then the radiator will actually sit further back in the engine bay, and it's still got like a million miles of room in here. And then with the tanks at the top, it means that the intercooler pipes are going to be super short, because I'm running a Plasma Man plenum, and yeah, it's going to be pretty wild. So should be really good, and yeah, I'm just can't wait to get this sitting in here and mounted. And on the other side here, thanks to my legend mate Kyle up at 6BOOST, got a 6BOOST Pro Mod manifold coming, so it's going to change where the turbo sits. And as you may have seen on the Instagram and that, I do have a GTX 55 for it now. It is a big boy turbo, and more than likely we might have to put a little squirt of nitrous in it to get it to move, but yeah, it looks pretty awesome, and yeah, I think it's going to do the job. So, oh, and that's also a shout out to the fullBOOST guys, because they are kind of the guys that made the green top famous. If you haven't got one of their green top t-shirts yet, or any of their other t-shirts, you should do it. And yeah, because they are awesome guys and they've been mates of mine for over 20 years now.
So it takes 40 grand to do what a 2 grand Barra can do. Sign me up.
that's kind of where I'm at with the engine bay at the moment. Yeah, it's just literally, as I cruise through this messy shed of mine, I've got cars and bike projects everywhere. This is this Nicky Hayden bike, started to come to pieces. There's like swing arms and frames and stuff like that, and got over there and welded the frame the other day, so that's almost ready to go to powder coaters. But anyway, it's all motorbike parts up here. Underneath is all the leftovers from the ute. So this isn't really sort of like an ad, but basically if anyone's looking for Barra stuff, I literally have GT4788. I've got a full extrude honed FG plenum to suit Bosch Motorsport throttle body. It's got twin rails on it. I have a full, well, I've got a HoonTV Elite 2500 and a full Barra loom there. So that's for someone who's just going straight from the get-go to put a Barra into their car, and that's actually wired up for 12 injectors as well. You can run it with 6, but on top of that, got MSD big leads and LS coils. And then also I've got my old Turbo 400 housing and a TCE converter and a drive plate to suit. Got the fuel system there with the triple Walbro pumps in it. The old 6-boost manifold. It's just a pile of stuff, and basically I'm not going to reuse all that stuff, and I'm not going to hoard it, so I'm hoping that I can sell it off somebody who'll find it useful and build a cool car out of it themselves. I mean, it could be anything really. I mean, you put Barras in any cars now, but yeah, basically I'm just having a tinker around today, because that's where the ECU was mounted, well, is mounted. So that's all going to be coming out, keeping obviously the TCA8, which is the EGT module, and the little CAN hub there, but the ECU's coming out. Literally done 2 dyno sessions and 2 roll racing meetings, and not very many roll races, and other than that it's pretty much new. So that, and then also I've got the HoonTV IQ3 GPS dash, so that's coming out as well, because I'm going to be putting an IC7 in there. So yeah, basically, like I said, that's all going to be coming up for sale, and pretty soon, because like many people, when you're building cars, it is expensive, and funding one new part means selling an old one. So yeah, I'm in that position right now where I want to do that, and then also just, you know, clear the shelves and get things moving. It is this sad sight seeing this car in a million pieces, but it'll get back together, and yeah, can't wait to drive it again. So here's my, as you do when you're building a car or doing upgrades on a car, here's my list, stuff to do. There you go. Alright, so obviously engine, can't really write very well with this pen, and my hands are freezing because it's the middle of winter. So that's HP Junkie, HoonTV. Now basically the HoonTV, I'm going to a Nexus, and not for any reason that there's anything wrong with the 2500. It's basically, it means that we've just got more options because of the fact that I'm running 12 injectors, and it has that many injector drivers. So I'm going to put in here Mitch. Hello. And put a tick there because he's a legend, and Mitch is going to be helping me wire up the HoonTV, so that's really good. I have the Turbo 400 with the reed case, which is MV Automatics. Mike, my legend mate there. We're just basically waiting on some parts from the States for that. I have a Hughes converter, thanks to Benny. Hello. From Benny's Custom Works in Sydney. He had a spare one, and everything kind of worked out nicely for him and me doing a deal on that one. So yeah, that should be perfect for what I need. And then obviously I have the 6-boost manifold, and I put here MTQ, because the GTX 55 is from MTQ. 55, Kyle, whoop, can't even write, it's so cold in here. Tick, legend. And then yeah, there's a couple of options with the fab work, but basically engine in, I'll put that there. Also here we got Plasma Man, so I've got the plenum and intercooler there. Massive thanks to Alex and Oya. It's pissing down with rain at the moment, so apologies for noise, but massive thanks to Alex and Oya who own Plasma Man. Good dudes. I've known them both for a really long time, but also Shannon and Corey and all the crew there and sales that look after everything Shannon's been amazing. He's been really helpful and just a good dude. Loves his job, loves what he does, and very passionate about it. Come on, Rain, seriously. Like, yeah, anyway. And then, yeah, it's just basically just man hours and labour just to get everything right. Like, I have to do plumbing again and oil, because what that is, I've got a accumulator and a... Wow, that rain is heavy. Hang on. Yeah, all right. So it's like literally torrential right now, if you can actually hear me, because I'm yelling. Thanks weather system. I'm trying to make a YouTube video, all right? Knock it off, relax, look at that. Oh, no, I think I can get away with it. So, yeah, back to this. The oil system, accumulator, and a clear view filter. I'm running out of windscreen because I'm riding on this sort of drift angle here. And that's big thanks to Burson Auto Parts for getting that for me. Those guys there, Burson Auto Parts and Burson Garage. So with them there, basically the accumulators, just your engine safety for oil pressure and maintaining everything's going right. I'm going to be running one of Ant's billet oil pumps anyway, so everything should be mint. But oh, and on that subject too, because of the fact the engine's been moved back, I'm now running an FG sump. So that's how far everything's come back, which is awesome. So for those in the know, the BA sumps have the dip at the front, FG's at the back, so it's, yeah, completely different now. So that's good for a drag car too, because having the dip at the back. And then, so yeah, with all that stuff, there's all the associated oil lines and so forth. And then other stuff like when the engine's back in and the turbo's all on, then I'll have to fab up the top half of the dump pipe again. That shouldn't be too bad, and I'm really enjoying the welder and all that sort of stuff now. So welding, this might be quite entertaining seeing how bad I am at riding. Tick, world class. And then, yeah, so there's a bit of a list there, but yeah, we like our car list. Most people that are building cars have done this once or twice, I reckon. Just a windscreen list there where you can't lose it. You put it on a piece of paper. It's yeah, mine's probably not the neatest, but this is me just thinking out loud for things I need to do. There are other things I'll need to be doing as well, but I think I may have to, maybe a new tail shaft. I could probably modify the one that's in there, but I'm sort of leaning on the idea of maybe going for a carbon one, but we'll see how we go, or an aluminium one. But, you know, we'll see how we go. But all of that, and then after all that, oh, that one there, but I've just realised that I've missed one here. Fuel system, Raceworks. Jamie and the legends there. We've got a good idea. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag yet, because I know fuel system's very controversial, but a good idea of what we're going to do there with pumps and injectors and so forth. But yeah, that's definitely an important one, and that's kind of got to go there really, because with no fuel system there's no tuning. But yeah, there's my list, and lots to do, but it'll all come together pretty quickly, I think, once I get stuck into it and put some hours into it. That's the whole thing, you know, building cars do take hours and money, and I've sort of been saving up a bit and doing stuff, so the parts are coming along well, but it's just the hours now, and yeah, getting this thing so it's held in there by itself. And then, should I stick with a green top, like with a green lid? Nah, it looks horrible, so I'm not sure what I can do with the rock cover, but yeah, well, it'll be painted some colour, so I'm not sure yet. Oh, better put my lid on. Can't risk losing the pen. There you go, all safe. Alright, speed up. I also have that sump there. I'll probably be selling that too. That's the high volume sump that Cam from Solid Engineering and I made. It's all sort of baffled in the bottom for the oil pickup there and so forth. That brown stuff's just like DevCon, which yeah, it's just oil stain, but anyway. And there's my radiator support panel. All looks good. Little support bar for the bumper on it. Also, I got the PRP coil bracket there with the R35 GDR coils, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's all coming together. So well, not coming together, but yeah, lots to do. And I'm also upgrading my trans cooler to a Davies Craig one there with a fan on it. So that'll be in a nice spot where it's got its own free flowing air in the front of the car on the side, I believe. So lots to do, but yeah. Right, so there you go. That's what I'm doing at the moment. Still a while off, but got some good upgrades in the pipeline. It's going to be really fun doing it, and as I've said before, I can't wait to drive it again. And thanks for 60,000. Very, very grateful. Awesome. See you soon.
Hello.